All right. Kitty, how are you? How
I'm
you doing
good.
today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. We're about to do another episode of Talk Soup, and I'm excited because we're going to be talking about WandaVision and that amazing episode that happened on Friday.
Hmm.
I wrote down a bunch of notes. This was the first episode in which I did so, and it's
Yeah.
funny because it was actually probably a 28 or 29 minute episode,
Yep.
not accounting the credits.
Yeah.
So, and it was no like it was even though it was really short, it gave us so much. And I actually this one I went back and I watched so many different times because I really did try picking up on the Easter eggs I missed. I watched breakdowns to try to confirm or either add to what I didn't get. Um, so really quick before we break down the episode itself, what did you think of this episode?
My favorite episode.
Yeah, I feel like each week it progresses. Like, all right, no, that's my favorite. No, this one is
It,
because
I,
it gets better.
well, yeah, I thought it was my favorite episode. Well, I didn't think it was my favorite. It was my favorite episode because it was like it was like, wow, we know what happens. It's like it gave us that part of, she wakes up in the blip.
Yeah.
And like it was just so cool. It was just like a cool episode. Like all these great characters from all these movies were in it too. It was just like so amazing.
Yeah. No, I agree. Last week's episode was my favorite.
Yeah.
And then we got this episode and then it just became my other favorite now. And it's just like each week, as I said, it gets better and better. And the first two episodes, understandably so, they were different. Obviously they were in black and white. And they were about TV sitcoms and they were about that cheesy 1950s lifestyle, that fairyland, kind of not mystique, atmosphere or whatever. And as I said in my first episode when I did the show with myself, these were shows that I grew up watching. Most of us did, and that's what really drew me in. And in fact, that I know it was an MCU universe, and I also said that watching those two episodes alone, without having the MCU universe as a context, really makes absolutely no sense. And now that we're getting more and more, and this one felt more like MCU, it's getting better. And plus, they're giving us more answers, which is good. I mean, they're giving us more questions, but they're also answering more as we go along, which is really good. I'm glad they're not leaving. I'm glad they're giving us little tidbits, here and there, and they're not just, not giving us everything. But you spoke about the blip. Now that happened. That was the first thing that we saw, and the reverse blip, her coming back. We briefly saw that in Spider-Man: Far From Home
Hmm.
when he was watching video footage, and people were like, or I don't know if it was video footage. I think it was just footage on the news where they were showing people like reappearing in the school gym, and it was done really fast. But this one, you could see a total recreation of Monica Rambeau, sitting in that hospital bedroom. And I thought it was really cool. And then she comes out, she's in the hospital, everybody else is, coming back, and it was just total chaos. And, we never got that part of Endgame.
Right.
We saw Hulk snap his finger. That's it.
Hmm.
Um, let's see. What do you think of the acting director of Sword, Tyler Hayward?
Oh, yeah. So when I watched it the second time, I picked up on, so I think he's evil.
I don't think he can be trusted. It just
Yeah, I don't
doesn't
think he
make
can
any
be trusted.
sense.
So I didn't pick up on that the first time. I picked up on that the second time
Okay.
because as so when on the second time you get to pick up on little like different things because Jimmy Woo how he wrote hexagon and a question mark and there were things on. Well, Randall Park, if you checked in his office, his rug had hexagon pattern.
Okay.
So it's like these little things you get to pick up on, and then he seems a little shady. So it's just like, oh, maybe they're putting in these little Easter eggs in his office that we're not picking up on, and he seems like a little bit of a shady character. So that's why I was just like, huh, yeah. And in the first part, I didn't pick it up. On the second time, I was like, okay, I don't trust him. I think he's a shady character.
Yeah, somebody also commented and pointed out that in Tyler Hayward's office, when him and Monica come in, he's got these framed plaques or these framed pictures on the wall, and they're actually grouped, which almost forms a hexagon. So there's a
Okay.
lot of hexagonal shapes, and there's a lot of meaning. There's got to be a meaning behind that. I mean, Randall, Jimmy Woo writes that on the board,
Yeah.
and that's what I loved about that whiteboard, because that was literally us fans asking all these questions, and I guarantee you that that's what a lot of where these came from. I also like the fact that they wrote scrolls on that board. Are possible scrolls, but I doubt that that's what the case was. I also think that he's shady. The fact that he doesn't want Monica, he wants Monica grounded, wants to keep her on terrestrial missions. I'm not really sure if that really does come from her mom. Uh, and I really feel like it's just a little suspicious that she gets put on this missing persons uh, case, and then she gets sucked in. It's almost like, I don't know. I'm not saying that he set her up and he knew that that was going to happen, but I really feel like he wanted her there personally for a reason.
Yeah.
So and maybe we'll find out in future episodes. But yeah, I saw that. And who is it? So the other thing too, and I have this written down. Who is the missing witness? That's the other thing. So here's my question with this whole missing witness thing. Now we know Jimmy Woo was from California because he was in the Ant-Man series, and I don't know if you picked up on that really
His
cool
little business card.
the card trick that he learned from Scott
Yeah.
Lang from
He learned
Ant-Man
from
and
that
Wasp.
start line. Yeah, that was really cool.
So
I
now
like
he tells Monica in that scene that he was dealing with a missing persons person, a witness protection, right? That's in the witness protection. But he knew something was strange when the guy went missing, but then the known associates and relatives have no memory of him whatsoever. Now, if he's in the witness protection program, Jimmy Woo flew in from Oakland. Where is this witness from? And it's very unlikely that if you're in a witness protection, you're going to be placed in an area where your hometown is. So if there really is a 5-mile radius of what they say on the board, we don't really know if that's the case, but if there's a 5-mile radius of everybody's outside of the town's memory affected, like the Eastview cops, why would the witness be placed in an area where his known associates and family members would be for them to forget him? So, which leads me to believe he is not a real character. I think the witness that was placed in the witness protection is actually a deceptive character. It might even be Ralph. I think it could be Mephisto. It could be somebody that doesn't have doesn't have an origin. That's why. Like I don't know. It's just that's what drove that made me ask questions more than anything in this episode was, wait a minute. Normally when you're put in a witness protection program, you're put in a place where nobody can find you.
Yeah.
So, and if there's if there's a bubble of a 5-mile radius of affecting people's memory of, not even knowing Westview exists, it's unlikely that his relatives, when Jimmy Woo questioned them, that they wouldn't know who he is. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that's just, again, I could be wrong, but it didn't make any sense. That part didn't make any sense. So he flies in from Oakland, and then we saw that she actually didn't go in. Monica didn't go in to infiltrate. She got sucked in.
Got sucked in. Yeah.
My other question now too. Two things can be from this. Now we obviously see right before she gets expelled, she has the silver sword necklace, and we know that anybody that gets drawn into that town, into Wanda's reality, gets transformed or configured into something that's going to be settling to her, or within the within the confinement of that reality. So when the beekeeper went in, he was in a hazmat suit. He got transformed into a beekeeper suit,
Right.
and his rope actually got transformed into like a 1970s jump rope or 60s jump rope. What turned into her necklace? Was it her sword necklace that I think her mom gave her? She has like a little gold, what looks like a sword necklace that she had before she went in. But also before she went in with the sword ID badge that was hanging down. So I didn't see the little necklace that she had. Somebody else pointed that out, and then and then obviously it's obvious that she's wearing it. But I thought all along, was like, okay, well then the sword necklace was her ID badge because she went in with wearing it. Which one do you think it is?
I think it was probably her ID badge.
Okay.
Yeah. It's got to be identification of sword, so that's
Yeah.
what I thought.
That's how I seen it. Okay. Let me just want to make sure I got everything. Call back to Ant-Man. We already talked about that. Uh and we find out that the timeline is just weeks. This is just weeks after the that Hulk snapped, everybody
Mhm.
back. We see people on that little news feed when she's in the sword headquarters with people adjusting, coming back to loved ones. Um, we now know the town is real, uh, and the people are playing roles of fictional characters. And
Right.
we got some of their IDs. Then we were talking about that briefly, before we went on. Uh, let's see.
Can we talk about
Yeah.
Kick-Ass Dennings? I love her.
Oh, Kat Dennings. Yeah, Darcy.
Yeah, I loved
Yeah,
her.
yeah. No, I'm glad she was in this episode.
Yeah, that was a nice callback too. Yeah, that was a kick-ass. When she came on, I was like, oh my god, I love her. I love her so much.
Also, speaking of Darcy, so when she's watching the feed and she gives Wu the idea to speak into the radio, right, to try to reach out to Wanda, and when she was watching that, and when she was watching the scene where Wanda expels Monica Rambeau out of the reality,
Mhm.
that is not shown on the TV footage, and
Right.
she's and everybody's like, well, who's editing that? It's not being edited. It's
It's
not being edited. It's Wanda's reality. So when she gets drawn out of that reality for a brief moment, Ultron, uh, the uh, the radio, she got sucked out of that. She wasn't, she got pulled out of that reality. So that's why you're not seeing that footage because it
yeah.
wasn't being broadcasted. So, and that was really cool that those scenes were kind of spliced out, but understandably so because Wanda's not doing that. Then Wanda's, and then we get that line from Monica when she gets sent out that it's Wanda. It's all Wanda.
Oh, Wanda.
Now
Yeah.
I still think Wanda is in control, but I don't think I think she thinks she's in control, but I don't think she is. I really don't.
I'm still confused about that. Like, I want to say towards this episode, I want to say she's in control, but don't. I don't know. Still, it's still like a little bit of an unanswered question mark. You know what I mean?
When she uses her powers, when she uses her, it's called actually a hex. When she uses her hex and to get really strong, like she hadn't used that in any of these episodes yet, and she pushes her out. When she looks kind of not confused, but she looks like she's like, wait a minute, what did I just do?
Yeah.
Or so now I don't know if that's because she was pulled out of her reality for a minute to be the Wanda Maximoff that we know her as, or somebody's controlling, or somebody's want. So here's the thing: I think she's in control.
But at the same time, the way I think that the way in my mind I think that she is doing this is because we could tell after at that end scene where you see Vision's lifeless body
Yeah,
because whatever happened to him at the end of one of the Avengers movies,
Infinity War.
Infinity War. She's grieving.
Yeah,
So I think that
yeah.
she's grieving so much that she created this pocket reality to live with Vision. Like, and I think that's where in my brain that I think that she's probably doing this because she's grieving so hard and she can't get past this.
Yeah.
And that's where in my brain I think maybe she is doing this. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But at the same time, there's a little bit of elements in this show that make me think, okay, there's aspects where sometimes I'm like, maybe she's not. I don't know. It's still confusing.
Well, I had said that in an episode before this that I think it's her doing this, and it's but I feel like it's too forefront if it really is. It would be too simple if it was all her. And I really do feel like that she might be doing this reality, but this might be somebody wanting her to do this for the benefit of themselves. So let's just say let's say Mephisto was the one. Maybe she struck a deal with Mephisto. That's what everybody seems to think. She struck a deal with the devil to be able to live in a town and do what she can to be with Vision, who's dead. And she's taken over a whole town. And everybody's subject to that. But I really feel like the whole birth of the twins had nothing to do with her. That was all. Those were all laid groundwork by the people of the town, especially Agnes. Everybody's saying for the children. Agnes, as soon as she meets her, saying, do you have children? Or giving her tips on seductive techniques and stuff like that. These were all subliminal messages. And in the comics, supposedly Mephisto needs these kids.
Yeah.
you know, or in the comics it's different, but they feel like in this universe we're gonna have it where he needs these kids to whether it's him and a character called Nightmare or somebody of that nature, and he's using people are using Wanda for this, but you're right. And the other thing is too, I have it all the way down here, but might as well get to it, is some people seem to think that Vision is a corpse. And then
Yeah.
she's kind of doing a whole weekend at Bernie's kind of fucking thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is kind of disturbing if that's the case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's how I kind of
But wouldn't he
envisioned
be
it.
so let's say he was a corpse and that theory is true. When she broke from her reality for a quick second, wouldn't wouldn't he just be lifeless on the floor or on the couch?
I don't know, but she did see him in that
Yeah.
lifeless
I
element.
I mean, we have it right here behind us on the background. I mean, that was an unset like that took I was like, "Whoa."
Yeah.
That was crazy whenever everybody got that that feeling when they first saw that. Um so we got some of the IDs from the people of the town. And when I want to pull up a couple of them because I took pictures of my own TV screen to try to morph it and try to be able to see things a little bit better so I can read them. But some of the town IDs we got were Mr. and Mrs. Hart, played by Todd and Sharon Davis. So we know that those people, actually have real identities.
Pull a day.
What?
Did you pull a day?
Yeah. Herb is John Collins. We know Herb now has a name. He's actually John Collins. Norm is Abalash Tandon. And then the other one is I think his first name is Phil, but his last name is Jones. Phil Jones, the guy who gets laid off or fired the very first episode. His real name is what is it? Scott Proctor. Hold on. Harold Proctor. So those are the ones that we got the IDs for. Interestingly enough, Agnes is on the board, but she has no known alias and
And
no
that's the one I was trying to pay attention to.
and no name in the database. That just could mean that they didn't find one yet. The other one is Dottie is not up there at all.
Dottie wasn't up there.
Not at all. Not even a picture. Nothing. And they've seen her in the episode. Now, Ralph, you can understand Ralph. Ralph maybe because he's the witness, or maybe oh no, Wu did say him, so it wouldn't be a girl. Ralph might be the witness, but the reason why I think he wouldn't be up there is because we haven't seen him. The audience, us and Sword, has not seen him, so there's no way to put a picture with identity in the database. So, but here's what I really I want to show you. I found this very, very interesting. So, bear with me, guys. Sorry. Because I have to open this up and then I have to zoom it. So this is on Norms. Let me put this on full screen. So not all of them, but some have these little, I don't know if you can see my cursor, have these notes. Now, it says down here that Abalash expresses concern for his father and sister. This information was obtained when Vision awakened him. Is Wanda controlling a whole town? Physical safety of residents is now in question. When Vision releases him, Abalash becomes Norm again. Now, that hasn't happened yet. And I'm curious to know if that happened in the episode we're about to watch. And I saw that in the notes. And the other thing is too, when I took this picture, because I was trying to get Norm's thing, I also did it because I wanted to see Agnes. Now,
I'm confused though. What do you mean that hasn't happened yet?
when did Vision awaken him? When did he I don't remember that part.
But where we got up to in this episode was when they pushed Monica out.
Yeah.
And they were watching the episode in the 70s.
Yeah.
They're all caught up.
Yeah, I know, but that's the thing. When did this happen? We didn't see it.
But what other episode could they possibly fill us in? Because Kat Dennings' character said they watched the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s. So
Yeah.
wait, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s. So
So,
what?
but no, but I'm saying not an episode of theirs. An episode, no. So not a new episode per se, where it's going to be something from the 80s. But I'm saying we haven't seen this in any of the episodes we watched.
Right.
So
So
just like the whole Monica Rambeau thing, we saw her get pushed out, but we didn't see how it happened until the episode later. So I'm thinking they have to show this. I mean, why would this be on the notes for us to not even read unless we took a screenshot of it and blew it up? And the whole Agnes thing, I tried getting a little bit. You can only get bits and pieces of a fragment. It just says blank in Vision's home. That's probably Wanda. I really wish I knew what that says. It looked like it says captured. But it says Agnes has helped care. But the bottom one is what I found the most interesting. Wanda has used magic around Agnes.
hmm.
So that's going to show that I feel like Agnes is, again, the fact that Agnes has no identity is a little strange as of yet. But I feel like if that is the case, if Wanda's going to end up doing magic in front of Agnes, unless it's just because everybody is in their own fucking, oh, the house is on fire, we're fine, everything's fine, and look at Monica. Monica's seen the vacuum thing going on. The picture, we talked about this, portraits fucking flipping around and everything else going crazy in the house while she's trying to help Wanda give birth. So it's not to say that people wouldn't just chalk it up. I mean, look at the doctor. Vision went, superhuman speed with him on his back, and the doctor didn't think anything of it. So that might mean nothing, but I just found it a little strange that Wanda was able to is gonna be maybe comfortable enough to use magic around Agnes without Agnes thinking anything of it.
Yeah.
I just wish I could have seen that whole thing, because on the zoomed out picture of the whole board where you can see all of the notes, there's just no way to zoom in where it's legible,
Yeah.
which sucks.
Hmm.
But I thought that was really cool. But the whole Norm thing, I went back and I watched every episode because I was like, wait a minute, did that happen?
No.
And we never seen Vision awaken anybody, except the only time we saw that was in one of those promo trailers where he does that to Agnes in the car when she's dressed as a witch.
Yeah,
You see her,
but
you
what?
see him touch her head.
Maybe those notes are notes that they got to physically see through everything. We don't necessarily have to see everything.
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But that was a little curious thing, and that's because Vision awakening somebody to me is a big thing in a show that we haven't seen. And like I said, the only other time we saw any tidbit or anything like that of that nature was in that one scene where she's, like I said, she's dressed as a witch. He touches her head, and she goes, "Oh my god, am I dead?" And then I remember saying in one of the trailers, she's like, "Oh, because you are." And then she starts laughing and like, "Are you a Avenger?" So Vision is going to end up awakening people because he's already starting. He already knows. I mean, the look on his face says it all at the end of the episode. Like he's like, what? Where the fuck am I? Like he's visibly, no pun intended, but he's visibly uncomfortable at that end scene. I just want to make sure that I didn't forget anything. Monica, yeah, and then the other thing is too, as we said, because remember Monica gets sucked in, but Monica remembers Ultron because Wanda loses her reality loses her guard for a split second when she starts thinking about Pietro and starts thinking about the Sokovian lullaby. So
Yeah.
because her guard gets down a little bit, that's where Monica comes like, wait a minute, I know who I am now.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. But yeah, so like I said, we got some answers to which we think.
So there was weird things that it did pick up on the show. So Sword in that is sentient weapon observation response,
Yes. Yeah.
which that's not what it is in the comics.
Yeah.
And I was like, why are they changing that? That was a
Yeah,
little.
they changed it from world to weapons. I think, I mean, I knew that from the first episode.
Yeah, when they placed it on the bottom screen, I was like, that's not the
Yeah,
acronym.
no, it's world. Yeah, sentient worlds.
Yeah, so I was like, that was a little weird.
Yeah.
Some I we picked up on Monica will be playing Photon. Remember, that was the last thing that on my last episode, I was like, which character will she be playing?
She most likely be, yeah, because of her mom's name. She'd be
Her
Photon.
mom's moniker is Photon.
Yeah.
I think they're setting up Fantastic Four in this.
I think so too. It looks like it is. You know, the whole astronaut program. I really feel like,
Microwave background
yeah.
radiation. I thought that was cool.
Well, I also have a question too, really quick, and this is just something that I was thinking about. I asked another YouTuber. I didn't get a response yet. Again, because I really don't know much about the comic book aspect of everything, but it seems like to me, you know, that whole the CMBR radiation that they were talking about, the whole Big Bang thing. That's because, you know, as we know, that's the whole origin of these elemental stones. You know, these Infinity Stones. I feel like Wanda has the power of all of them. That's it in my mind. I really think Wanda has the power of every Infinity Stone, and she doesn't know it. I mean, I feel like she can rewind time if she wants to. She already, well, I mean, I guess she altered the reality. She didn't rewind time. But she definitely has the power of the reality stone. She never had that power. No, I mean, sorry. She had the power of the reality stone, but wasn't she born, weren't the twins born or created, sorry, from the Mind Stone? No, not the Mind Stone. The Space Stone, the Tesseract. Which stone did they use? Because it wasn't the ether. It wasn't the Reality Stone.
Mm-mm.
I'm just saying some of the powers that she has possessed seems like they are in line with the stone itself, with the other stone. So I don't know. That's just a theory. Now that I'm talking about it out loud, it actually kind of sounds stupid.
I'm just like, I'm
Because
trying
I'm
to
like, wait a minute, she didn't
trying to
really
piece,
rewind time. I
I'm
don't know.
trying to
I
piece
just
it
feel
together.
like she has immense power that
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if she actually was the living embodiment of all the stones. So I don't know. That was just whatever. So what else did you notice? Because it might be things that I missed.
Let me see. So what I think though, so you know how we were talking about Evan Peters
Yeah.
coming on?
Yeah.
I think he might be setting up to play Speed
Okay.
because I don't think they can introduce him as Pietro.
All right. Yeah. I mean, it would be a little weird. I mean, this would be the way to do it, to kind of course correct and just be like, well, no, I'm Quicksilver. You know, so we don't get. I'm sorry. It's not like he was a bad Quicksilver, but let's be honest. When you have the two, when you see the two on screen, one being an X-Men, the other one being Avengers: Age of Ultron. Come on. I mean, there's just no comparison. But it could be. But do you think they're going to be that far? Because Evan Peters, his age-wise, you think they're going to be?
They keep going. They keep time hopping.
Yeah.
So the only thing I could think of at this point is I gotta build a character up for.
Well, they're time hopping. But this happened within days.
Right, but they keep time hopping. Like Wanda and Vision keeps time hopping, so those children have to grow.
Right. They're definitely going to grow, but you think they're going to get? You think by the episode 9 they're going to be Evan Peters' age?
You never know.
That is true. I mean, they were born in a day. 9 months did take a day for them.
Yeah, there's like the
12
time
hours.
frame.
What'd she say? It was 12 hours or something like that?
No, it was really fast.
Yeah.
And they went decades in how many days? Like 50s, 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's the only thing I could think of right now.
Well, I mean, the kids are going to be embodiments of her and her brother. I mean, Vision doesn't have super speed.
No,
He doesn't.
We already know that from the comics. Like,
yeah, they're not. Yeah.
Speed's got elements of her brother and like I think some Thor powers or some BS like that. And then Wiccan's got all her types of powers.
Yeah.
So
I mean that's an interesting take. I honestly I never thought of that. But that is a cool take. And that would be another cool way to bring in Evan Peters. But I'm really hoping they kind of set the door and set the tone where he might be resurrected as some type of Quicksilver. I don't know. I mean, what do you do with him then if that's the case? I don't know.
I mean, it would kind of fix that whole contract debacle, and they can bring him back. Did you freeze again? Joe? He froze. Hold up. Sorry, guys. Joe's having internet issues. So we'll see if we can get him back on.
I don't know what's going on today.
I tried to hold down the fort and tell him you're having internet issues.
Yeah, I don't know why, guys, because I pay for gigabit internet connection and I'm hardwired into my router, so I have no idea. But let's before we get kicked off again, because this happened earlier, I guess we can end the stream anyway because we pretty much, unless wait, is there really quick? Is there anything else that you found that we didn't talk about?
No, I think we've covered it all. It was a really good show. It was a really good episode. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I cannot wait till Friday. I want to get more and more into the story, into what's going on. Monica Rambeau is obviously getting tested right now. It looked like she's either in the hospital or some type of area where they're testing her out. Some other people think that she might have gotten her powers from Wanda and using that. I don't think that's the case. I think she's going to end up getting them from some type of event, either either by the end of this series, because something might happen at the end of this series. Because remember, Darcy kind of sets that up, where at the moment everybody's safe from radiation levels or whatever, but no, she might cause like a kind of Big Bang type of event.
Yeah,
that could do a lot of things. It could be a Fantastic Four origin, which I don't think that's going to happen, but it more along the line sets up maybe Monica getting her powers from that.
yeah.
But there's a lot of things that we still have to know. Is the acting director good, or is he fucking shady as shit like we think he is?
Yeah.
No, and all that other things. But Kitty, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. What you want to do next Sunday? Are you available or no?
Yes.
All right, guys. So just look out for us on next Sunday, this same time, 12 o'clock. We're going to be doing another episode of Talk Soup, talking about episode. What will be up to then? Is that 5?
5. Yeah.
We'll be talking about episode 5 next week's WandaVision episode. Guys, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Kitty, have a great day.
You too. Bye, guys.